I'd like to call the Township of North Huntington Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Wednesday, May 20th, 2020. Roll call, Manager Silka.
Commissioner Stump.
Here.
Commissioner Atwood.
Here.
Commissioner Blasco.
Here.
Commissioner Zona.
Here.
Commissioner Bevan.
Here.
Commissioner Goss.
Here.
Commissioner Hagas.
Here. Can everyone please stand and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks. If any residents would like to speak tonight, they could sign the book at the podium. All right, let the record reflect no residents' input tonight. Approval of meetings minutes for the special meeting 4/9/20.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by state and aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. For the regular meeting 4/15/20.
Motion to approve. Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by state and aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Payment of bills.
Make a motion we pay voucher number 6,461 through voucher number 6,513.
I'll second that.
Discussion. All in favor by state and aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Staff reports. Public Works report. Director Albert. Had anything to add to your report tonight?
I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen of the board, I'd just like to tell you what a pleasure it is to be here this evening with you.
Thanks. Glad to have you. All right, moving on. Park and Recreations report, Director Miller. Anything to add to your report tonight?
Sure, thank you. If I may, I just wanted to bring your attention, I know that Manager Silka had presented a document in front of you. You may have had a few minutes to look over, but please feel free to take some time and look over it in the coming days or in the coming weeks. I've received some inquiries from some of you. Commissioner Atwood had sent an inquiry to me about a week ago regarding the opening of athletic fields. I received a inquiry from Commissioner Blasco regarding the opening of playgrounds. And our daily staff and administration is receiving inquiries about pavilions. So parks have become a popular destination, to say the least. The plan that I put in place that I gave to Manager Silka with his review was just a form of communication, both internally and externally, so that we do have a plan in place that we could answer any of those questions or inquiries that came about, such as Commissioner Atwood's or Commissioner Blasco's or our staff. So please feel free to look through that. If you do have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, or we can talk in the coming weeks. A lot of the information that I've gathered is based on opinion, advice, experience from both leaders at the local level, the state level, and the professional industry level. So what I've tried to do is just gather that information and create a customized approach for North Huntington Township.
Thanks. Anyone have any questions on the relaunch for the parks?
Hey, Dan, I'm not sure if you could hear me or not, but the one thing I was looking at is, again, looking to reopen the playground structures. I know I was the one that advocated for the closure of that, but seeing that North Huntington has remained pretty flat, in the township, or sorry, the county at whole, we've added no more than one new COVID case per day, some days with 0 days. I want to look at what the board's thoughts are, again, looking to reopen the playground possibly Tuesday following Memorial Day with Parks and Recreation time to get swings back up, get safety fences down. And again, this is not that we're forcing residents to use it, but giving option to the residents if they choose to use those, using common sense, using good hygiene. but at this point, I feel that it's safe for residents to use these facilities.
Dan, I read in the report that there was some vandalism at some of the playgrounds. Do you want to talk about that a little bit and say whether you feel that vandalism was caused because we had the playgrounds closed?
The vandalism that we did receive was minor, although it was vandalism. Recently, we've received some breaking and entering into our basketball courts and our playgrounds. Our labor staff took a lot of time, and thanks to all of you for keeping them working. They're certainly appreciative of that, but they took a lot of time to deter the public from using the facilities during the stay-at-home order. The playgrounds particularly, Manager Silka and I discussed daily, we had roped them off with caution tape or safety tape, but then we took an extra step and created another barrier outside of that by putting snow fence up at every one of our parks and playground sites. And some of our parks have more than one playground site. Our satellite parks also have playgrounds. So there was an extensive amount of time put there. So a lot of those things that were vandalized, Commissioner Stump, were the fact that they were torn down or moved or displaced. So it wasn't extensive damage, but it was just damage none the least.
So basically, people are trying to use that whether we have it barricaded or not. They're still using that equipment.
They're making an effort, certainly.
Thank you.
If I can just, to piggyback off what Commissioner Blasco said, there's an article that came out today that you might be interested in reading. It's from the CDC. It was on Fox News website. Now the CDC is saying that the virus does not stay on surfaces long, and it's very hard to catch it off of the surface. And it's almost strictly person-to-person contact. So that might be a good idea to open that stuff back up.
I'd be interested in reading that, Commissioner Zona. Most of the material that I've read or the information that I've gathered seems to be anything that is a wooden surface would not contact the virus. As a matter of fact, they're recommending not to use disinfectant on wooden surfaces, just regular soap and water. Now, some of the plastic surfaces, it might require disinfectant, it might not. But the other thing, too, is with our staff, I want everyone to keep in mind, opening is certainly up to you. We're trying to follow the state guidelines, the Commonwealth guidelines, but that's not to say that we don't have to deter from that. However, with the labor that we do have, keeping up with those things will be a daunting task. Again, in discussing with Manager Silka, when we decided to reopen the restrooms this past week, we wanted to make sure that we have a plan in place that we can clean them both morning and afternoon, which we do, and that's taken our time away from the field, from mowing and doing other things, but also, too, to put some signage up there on the doors of the restrooms, letting people know that minimum maintenance is currently being held. So just keep that in mind, if you will.
Any other board discussion? Hey, Brian, were you trying to make that in the form of a motion of open up the playground equipment, or was that just a discussion?
That could be for discussion. Again, any other board comments, but I feel at this time it's ready to go up. So if Ron, if you're willing to second me, I'll make a motion that we open the playgrounds starting Tuesday, following Memorial Day. There gives time for the park staff to get that. And if we see that there is a need to close down, and I hate to make power back to do something again, but we could also revisit this issue. But I'll make a motion that we reopen the playground facility Tuesday, and I don't have my calendar, May 23rd, let me see here, the 26th.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
So there's a motion on the floor and a second to open up the playground equipment on Tuesday, May 26th. Any board discussion?
Does that include the pavilions?
I think in Mr. Director Miller's report, the pavilions would be opened up with the limitation of groups less than 25.
That's correct, Mr. President. Currently, pavilions are open. We're leaving it up to the user to whether or not they want to host their picnic or their party, as long as they follow the guidelines of 25 or less. There's a lot of folks that have asked us, hey, can we? And we really don't want to be in a position to say yes or no, so we're leaving it up to them. But pavilions currently are open.
Motion to second. Any other discussion?
Question. So you say twice a day you guys are doing minimal cleaning. Will that also include the playground equipment?
Now, that's going to be a tough
Right.
thing to assign.
It would be.
My plan would be that we would go to those playgrounds once a week. We currently do a program called Small Parks Monday, where we go to the small parks, the satellite parks. It would take us probably a full day, and we would have to walk away from all of our other duties to clean playgrounds.
Yeah. Okay. Just a question. Thank you.
And I think my only other concern would be, when you mentioned playgrounds, Commissioner Blasco, with the motion on the floor, would that also include athletic fields? I mean, that's a whole nother facility.
No, at this
Correct.
time, I'm just looking at playground facilities, Lions Park, Indian Lake Playground, those facilities. And again, it's to be used at the individual's discretion. If they choose to not save, they don't use those. But just the play structures at your parks, not the athletic field.
Okay, I think that's what I wanted to make clear, that I'm hearing you say play structures and play equipment.
Correct.
I would recommend too that we post that they're using that equipment at their own risk, and that it's recommended that they bring their own sanitizing wipes or whatever they need to use.
I totally agree. Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's currently where we are with our park restrooms. The signage is posted at minimum maintenance, use at your own risk.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we add to that? Put signs like that near the playground? So
Certainly.
people know? Okay. All right. Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Was there any residents that would like to comment on this since we're adding it to the agenda? All right, not seeing any. I have a motion and a second to add it to the agenda. All in favor by saying an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Hey, Brian, you want to make that motion again since it's added to the agenda?
Sure, I make a motion to reopen the playgrounds on Tuesday, May 26th.
I'll second that motion.
Now, that's with the implication, though, that signs go up about, like Virginia brought up, right?
Correct.
Okay, I like it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor by saying an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Anything else for the Park and Recreation? All right, thank you, Director Miller. Police report, emergency management report, Gene Commodore, which I do not believe is here. Anything to get back to Gene? All right, Chief Rizzo. Any questions for the chief tonight? All right, thanks. Planning and zoning report, Director Fonzie.
Good evening. I just wanted to add, there's no new business for this month. We should have 2 plans coming through next month, once the planning commission is held as scheduled. And in your books, there was not a fire report this month. Josh wasn't doing any inspections during the red phase. So since we've moved to yellow, Jeff and I discussed today that Josh will start to resume those inspections carefully and practice social distancing. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, solicitor report, Mr. Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are no action items on the solicitor's report for this month.
All right, thanks. Township Manager's report, Manager Silka.
Okay, a few items this evening. First is action to approve the April check register.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor by saying an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
The April budget report is provided for your review. Next is action to approve a resolution authorizing budget amendment 2020-01.
I'll make the
to
motion.
approve. Second?
Yeah.
Second?
Discussion. Okay, just as more information based, this is basically we're decreasing the budget in some areas to try to do better combat with loss of revenue incoming. The only thing that we increased the budget on was the sync program, correct?
Correct, the traffic lights
All right.
maintenance.
Any other discussion? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Next is action to authorize the advertisement of the adoption ordinance for the Comcast franchise agreement.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, I have a question. Is this just to advertise it, or is this, okay,
Yeah, this is an ordinance that has to be advertised, and because I didn't know how it was gonna go, this will authorize the advertisement, we'll adopt it in June.
okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Next is action to authorize the execution of the Route 30 sync-up agreement with the Southwestern Pennsylvania Corporation.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Next is action to approve the request of the Penwood Civic Association for 4th of July fireworks.
Motion to approve?
Seconded.
Discussion? All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Next is action to award the Haywood Road Gabion Basket Stabilization Project, contract number 2020-03, to be awarded to Ligonier Construction, 1350 Route 30, P.O. Box 277, Lockmantown, Pennsylvania 15655, in the amount of $167,576.40, as recommended by the project engineer and budgeted in line item 01-438-610.
Motion to approve? Second.
Discussion? All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved 7-0.
Next is action to approve a letter to Governor Wolf urging the full opening of Westmoreland County.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Jeff, you don't mind just reading that for us, just so it's on the record?
Sure.
A revised one.
Dear Governor Wolf, on May 15th, 2020, Westmoreland County was allowed to reopen in the yellow phase. This phase, while a small step in the positive direction, is still a crippling burden on local businesses and the economy. At this time, our township and county have suffered great economic distress due to the closure and limited operation of our numerous small businesses. Established small businesses in our community have closed permanently due to these conditions. The largest number of Westmoreland cases are in confined areas, including nursing homes, not where citizens are utilizing businesses that are open. We, the Board of Commissioners of North Huntington Township, a first-class township in western Westmoreland County, request you develop and release the criteria and timelines to move counties to green and then all open. Governmental leaders at all levels deserve to know what data will be considered to allow the path to total opening, even while your own current criteria of low per capita case counts, the ability to conduct contact tracing and testing, and appropriate population density to contain community spread are being met. Our residents have shown their resiliency in the midst of this outbreak, drastically altering their lives in the name of keeping each other safe and healthy. We have proven that we follow the prescribed techniques in slowing and stopping the spread of this virus through proper hand washing, extensive sanitizing, covering of the mouth and nose with masks, and practicing social distancing. We have demonstrated that we know how to stay calm, safe, and healthy during this time. Our numerous small business owners have prepared to reopen by installing safety equipment and using measures to curb the spread of COVID-19. Without question, North Huntington Township and Westmoreland County have demonstrated its preparedness to reopen and met the qualifications to move to the yellow phase of reopening. Being served by UPMC, Allegheny Health Network, and Excella Health Systems, we have not seen any strain on the healthcare system in our area. Furthermore, our township and neighboring boroughs of Irwin and North Irwin have a total of 27 cases for over 30,000 residents, or a rate of 0.09% since the initial outbreak. The residents of the Commonwealth have shouldered the burden of the stay-at-home orders and business shutdowns by losing their employment and ability to sustain their personal financial responsibilities. The safety net of unemployment insurance has failed to meet its basic responsibility of providing the benefits in a timely manner. We have stayed the course, kept safe, and allowed the virus to dictate the actions. It is now time to be able to return to a normal social and economic life. In conclusion, we implore you to provide the criteria and timeline that Westmoreland County, including North Huntington Township, can use to move from yellow to green and eventually all open. Sincerely, North Huntington Township Board of Commissioners.
Thanks, Jeff. We have a motion and a second. Any other board discussion? All those in favor by stating an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved, 7-0.
Okay, the final item I have is action to grant the request of Richard Gray for public records previously denied by the Right to Know officer.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor by stating an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved, 7-0.
And that's all I have.
All right. Any further board comments tonight?
Hey, I would just like to say, I'd like to thank Steve Cleveland from Cleveland Price, who last month made a donation of 400 masks to the township. He brought them up and delivered them to the North Huntington Police Station. And I believe he donated about the same to the REMS members in the township also. So I just wanted to acknowledge Steve.
Is there any chance we could send him a real nice letter?
Yes, we'll do that.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Any other board comments? All right. No announcements tonight. Just need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
adjourn.
Discussion? All those in favor by saying an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Meeting adjourned at 7:21. Executive session to follow to talk about legal matters.